Let's see if this is working. It is! Woohoo! It is! Woohoo! It's working! Hello! Oh, good lord, that camera... That's gone off to my rubbish corner. That's really not a good position to be in. I'm packing up this place. There's a rubbish corner. There is, of course, there's a rubbish corner. Ooh, yeah. Hello, yeah. Avoid looking at the rubbish corner. Just piled high with all the stuff I'm organising, including a whole lot of iron brew bottles, I have to admit. I've gone for a lot of iron brew bottles this week. Yay! It was fun. Hello, Paul. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Yes, unrest hasn't happened. I'm in Britain in June 1935, and we're apparently a full democracy now instead of being the monocracy we were. The constitutional monarchy. I'm still not sure why it decided we were going to change. I'm not sure why with the update it suddenly decided there was a massive unrest when traditionally my unrest was about 0, but no, they've decided to have unrest. And we are now a democracy. We're still very rich, we're still very powerful, our people still have a good quality of life, so, you know. That has enough. We're going to take that. And what else are we going to take? That has enough, and I reckon we're going to take that as more's coming. Shall we launch another invasion of Italy? Where shall we invade, naval-wise? Ooh. Oh, this could be fun. I think we're going to go after Sicily, aren't we? We are. Invasion. Can't do one yet. Annoying. Hello, Wayne. How is everyone doing? How goes life? Also, please note, and I say this nicely, I think if I put my head down here, it's supposed to focus in on my head. So yeah, judging by the quality of this particular box right now and how bashed it's looking, I think possibly by my chair going into it, I'm not sure. But I think I'm going to have to do a lot of box filling, this book box filling today. So I'm fairly certain tonight's brew ships is going to be more book boxing. In fact, I'm very, very certain of it. So how is everyone today? How are we all doing? That's all correct. Done. And that's gonna be life is interesting. Life truly is interesting. I'm still brewing. How much have you managed to pack so far? I think I'm about halfway through in the office. I'm about a third of the way through in the bedroom. I've packed all the books in the lounge, and I've packed all the books in the attic. Well, they were all in boxes, so that's fine. So that's not really much. We've got to still get stuff down from the attic, but we can't do that till the MG 1100 it goes off to the mechanics to be fixed up. And yeah, basically, I've got a lot of weird stuff going on, but it's working. in terms of getting getting it all sorted out. And tomorrow morning, I've got to spend my time on the phone to the lawyers and the bankers and the lawyers and then the bankers again. Because, okay, here's the thing. Might have a different interpretation of GDPR from everyone else because I work with students and children quite often. So my version of GDPR is quite strict. I do admit that. However, if I'm prepared to sign the forms, and I am hiring both the accountant, both the bankers or the financiers or whatever to sort out the finance, and sort out the agreement in terms of us getting the deal, we're going by bridging loan rather than straight up mortgage for some other reasons, and it basically it said that I don't have to. My mum and sister don't have to do the minimal amount of moves, and I don't have to put any strains on them. So that works out best, and this is what we're sort of working through an agreement. But bridging loan is the main thing we're sort of doing in terms of this house, and so it involves a lot of lawyers, the conveyancing lawyers, etc., talking, and there's also independent lawyers because of my mum's age. She has to have extra lawyers. Despite her being 21 again, she does qualify for having to have an extra lawyer to check that me and my sister aren't swindling her out of stuff, which I find really fun because honestly, if you met her, and if you met her and talked to her, you'd think it could be the other way around. She is very, very on the ball. And me and my sister are both kind of overwhelmed with all the work and everything else at the moment, whereas mums are just concentrating on this stuff. So she knows what she sometimes has a clearer picture of what's going on than we do. But no, leaving that to one side. So you have about 3 different sets of lawyers involved, including the vendors' lawyers. We have the estate agents, we have the bankers from our side, and none of them will talk to each other. They all have to talk through us. And I keep going, I'm prepared to sign the forms. I'll sign whatever forms you need me to sign so you can talk with each other. No, but then there's a possibility we might try and... No, you won't. You won't. None of you get on well enough. All of you send me emails asking me to basically fire the other ones. You all hate each other. There is no chance. No chance you're going to try and collectively swindle us, because you'd each be running in to dob the other one in for faster than anything. It'd be more likely to be a setup. Oh. And one of the lawyers, I really don't think he would do anything to us, because the lawyer who's looking after Mum's interests is my friend Sam, and you've seen him on the television. You've seen Richard, her husband. Sam is the girl who comes out as, and is one of my oldest friends, who comes out as my director / videographer when I'm doing things like the M33 stuff, when I did the Warrior stuff. That's when she's there. Does all that with me. She always brings her chauffeur along, who's her husband, Richard, who's a very, very good lawyer. He's actually... Here's the thing. This is what I always laugh, because he's quite happy to help my mum out and do us, and he doesn't charge pretty much anything for us. And then he also is a lawyer hired by people like Google and Microsoft to work out their intellectual property alignment and all those things, because he's really, really good at that sort of stuff. And he's headhunted by them, and he basically goes, no, I'm doing it as a consultancy, and that makes all the money that way. So he's a really, really good lawyer. And he does it, and he's basically... It's just so funny watching him deal with my mum, because he basically goes, yeah, they have to pretend like they think you might be in trouble. And she's going, you wouldn't believe that, would you, dear? And he's going, no, Mrs. Clark, I wouldn't. Just a random question again. How have you managed to get autographed pictures from... all those people, all those world leaders on the wall? Oh dear, you know how it is. You make friends, you travel around the world. I just saw it because my mum has in her office her whole collection of photos of various leaders. Goes back as far as Margaret Thatcher and pretty much all the contemporaries. Since then, pretty much every prime minister of Britain and France, and every president of America and France, and the chancellors of Germany and all those things. She's got their pictures and autographed and on the wall. Yeah, I'm not sure how she's got that collection either, but she has. She's a fun lady, my mum. How did I not think? Those are probably my mines as well. uh... Unrestricted submarine warfare. Who's doing unrestricted stuff? They're all restricted. They're all restricted. Who is doing unrestricted? Which of my submarines is doing unrestricted submarine warfare? Unrestricted. Restricted. So I now have Sardinia. Western Sicily. That should be good. Wait, Maureen, how old is your mum? Officially, I don't know, but unofficially, my mum has celebrated her 21st birthday for the 60th time. That is good that there are less countries added. 6 ads. There have been 6 ads so far. Why are there so many ads? Oh, in other news, I might be. You might see me doing a bit of guesting on the dry dock, in Drax, Discord server, a couple of times over the next few weeks or so, because well, they have some interesting topics coming up, and they've asked me to help out, so I'm doing so. So if I do turn up, you'll know why. But I should be there tomorrow evening, I think. I think that's my first one. So I should be on there from about 6. See, the thing is, what I find strange is I'm only allowed to do one at a time, and frankly, I should be allowed to do many, because honestly, I'd be playing this like a harpsichord. My sister is, of course, 21 again, but unofficially, let's put it this way, we are rarely in the same decade of life. Very rarely. there is very marginal overlap. And she was, yeah, not exactly. Yeah, my mum was very busy. She didn't manage to have kids till she was older. And, yeah. But my sister and mum are both, of course, 21. As is my aunt, who's my mum's twin. As are all my cousins. I am now one of the oldest members of my family, because it seems to be only the men age past 21 in my family. I don't know what it is, but yeah. You know. So, I am ancient. The rest are all young. On the subject of my mum having a Tinder account, I have no idea what she has on her phone, and I'm not going there. Okay, there are things I just don't want to know. There are just things I don't want to know. Oh. It's like I have a poodle who thinks he's stealth. Come on screen, don't pause on me. For some reason, a second version of Ultimate Adrenals had opened up, and that was causing confusion for it. Oh, good lord. Honestly, on the subject of dating of my mum, as you'd have to ask her yourself, but I have long ago worked out with her that she's her constant annoyance is finding people who are still mentally active to keep up with her at her age. She finds that far more difficult than she does, anything else. Because in her view, too many people let themselves go and don't keep themselves engaged in the world. And we are talking about someone who will literally sit at her computer and will go through the Telegraph, the Guardian, the Times, the Daily Mail, the Daily Express, and about half a dozen other international newspapers every day. Will read them all. And she just sort of goes in there and she's always learning stuff and always searching stuff. It's just, yeah. And then people go, where do you get your pursuit of knowledge from? Where do you get your habits from with this? Is it from your dad? And I go, my dad was an amazing naval architect. He really was good. But no, I am definitely my mother's son. More than likely. I hope you're enjoying the long patrol. I thought it was quite good. But as said, I don't expect it to do well view-wise, because that topic's just not going to do well view-wise. And I have this conversation with a lot of people who do YouTubing, and they basically turn around to go, you do realise you don't help yourself with your topic selection. I go, I know. but I'm doing what I think is good topic and makes flow and it makes sense for this year doing in, and so I treat it like a university course. Not all parts of the module are going to be equally popular to students, but you still need to cover that area for them to get a fully rounded idea of what you're talking about, and so they can go off and do their own research and come to their own opinions. And so that's why you do it. But yeah. In real life, that would be a dead convoy. Yes, I've got new armor. Yes, I've got the new mine hunting kit. Yeah. Ships damaged by mines. uh... Okay, America's trying to expand. America has control of Sudan, and they're trying to do that. They have control. Ooh, they do have some territory. Yeah, I think I'm going to succeed in this campaign. Good luck, Lameborin. Honestly, yeah, there is. I keep trying to explain the concept of deterrence to people recently, and how, look, it's easier to manage a conflict when you're not involved in it, and people find that very difficult sometimes. They find it really difficult. Oh, Belarus. This is mostly British territory, isn't it? This is not really defendable British territory. If I want to make it defendable, I need to... Well, I've got some of the mountains, but I need really the mountains in Romania on my control to defend it from this direction. Basically, this area is not defensible, but at the same time is very defensible because this is all mountains. So this area is difficult for anyone to attack through, which the army's fighting with northwest Italy. Hence, they're now attacking up from central Italy, and I think I will soon be doing an invasion of is there anywhere else that I want to invade? Tunisia. Oh yeah, I'll do Tunisia. Because if I can do an naval invasion of Tunisia, that's going to make things interesting. And then I'm going to do, because basically, France is down to 3 provinces and 5 ports. And of those, 2 are in Tunisia. I'm trying to think where's the rest. Not down here. Do they have any over here? No, I wiped them out in the Caribbean. What about the Pacific? No, they're all gone in the Pacific as well. Ah, they're over here. Yeah, in the Indonesian seas. Okay, well that's my next target. Any other French flags around the world? No, I've taken them out in the Indian Ocean, I think. I know they have roughly 3 provinces left. They have nowhere left in Europe. Somewhere out here is French. There is a French territory somewhere in the world that I am missing. There you are! Hello, my little putty. Kerguelen Islands, Port-au-Fancy. I have found the hidden French. Enjoy, Wayne. Take care. Yeah. I wonder if I can position the fleets to be conducting both the invasion of Tunisia and the invasion of Sicily at the same time. I think I've got enough tonnage I could be doing so. It depends where they set it up. If they set the invasion up in the northern, I can do it where it overlaps. And just position one of the sets of fleets to invading both at the same time. Ah, yes, there's an overlap. There's an overlap. Oh, there's an overlap. Oh, that's so good. Into the overlap you go. Ah. That should be enough. There's a battle happening. Okay. This has got 12 15-inch guns. And that has 8 17-inch guns. And then a whole collection of guns. Let's give this a go. Let's see what happens. I am considering doing a challenge run in UAD. Don't take this the wrong way. I've got a lot of plans for doing stuff with the Twitch stream and things like that, but I want to do them post-move, so there's going to be a lot of ideas implemented probably around about September time this year. Because I've got all these ideas saying up, but I just... To do them properly, I want to prepare for them. So, for example, I'd like to do a challenge run as the Americans with doing battle cruisers and seeing what an American battle cruiser fleet would look like. And there's a few other challenge runs that people brought up as ideas, and I'd like to do them. And what I might do, especially once we're moved, and I can set aside a whole day without disrupting the entire family, because my food, everything is separate, and all those things, I can maybe go, right then, I'm going to do a challenge run on over a Saturday. I'm going to just do a non-stop... I'm going to play this game for like 12 hours. And see what I can do. So that's stuff which I am considering. But it's a case of... what works best given the scenario. The frick are my destroyers doing? No, it's got 17-inch guns. And we are now at the maximum range of its 17-inch guns, and I think we're just inside. And literally, I am doing this as a measure in damage control. That's more of what I'm sort of doing here. Try and keep the 17-inch gun ship as much on the back foot as I can. And fighting with my destroyers providing a screen. You know, if necessary, they can provide me with a smoke screen, honestly. And I can afford to keep in a sort of roughly straight line, because any of their destroyers or other vessels which try and get to me at the moment, I've got a screen of destroyers on my own in between. French destroyers only challenge. That could be interesting. I'd want the destroyer systems to be a bit fixed first before I did that challenge. Another reason to give UAD a little bit of time. Let's go see what this one is doing. Walking along. It's doing quite well, but yeah. I'm not really varianting. You should not be having the problems hitting your target you are. Are my destroyers even engaging their battle capital ship? Yeah. They are. They're engaging their battlecruiser. It's getting engaged by my destroyers. It's in... As far as my destroyers are concerned, it's a fair target. Are they... Is anyone actually bothering with their destroyers? Or are they just waiting... Oh, good lord. Another... And there goes the turret. And that ship is now in trouble. The Italian fleet is now officially in trouble. If they were sensible at this point, they would be turning around and getting out of here, because they might have cruisers somewhere, but the cruisers aren't taking part in this fight. They have destroyers, but they are not part of this fight. They are basically the same use as USS Essex Jr., and that capital ship should be nowhere near staying in this fight. It shouldn't be hanging in there. It should be getting out of here with that damage. That's the point at which you do smokescreen and run. You have destroyers, order smokescreen and run. This is the sensible scenario for you. You have no 17-inch ammunition left. Your 6-inch ammunition can't hit me. None of your weapons are effective. You are listing like anything. There is no way you are able to top speed. You've got 2 destroyers with smokescreens. Use them. That's what you do. Hey, Jacob. You played the sound of cannon hitting the ship. Let me just check the sound alerts are playing. Sound alerts are on. I'm going to test it. No. Yeah, I can hear it. Did you hear that? Did you miss it with all the battleships firing going on? Because that's a possibility. Nope, no boom. Now, I'm getting the boom. Why are you not getting the boom? Hi, Renan. Hi, Jacob. That's strange. Has OBS updated again and not listening to these things? Oh, no booming for me. That's annoying. After the battle's over, I will fix the I will check the boom. Not as loud as normal. Well, it's not coming up as part of my... Now they're doing a smoke screen. Way, way too late. For goodness sake, we saw that torpedo coming from miles away, Shark. Why do you not avoid it? And now their cruiser's shown up. And let's see. Just need a decent shot with the 15-inch guns, and that thing will disappear. Seriously, just a decent salvo from the 15-inch guns, take out the heavy cruiser, and then I can go and sink that battle cruiser. And that's basically what I want to do. No, you're still going to aim for... Oh, did that torpedo just destroy itself? Destroy... Oh, okay. The Farnese has been taken out by my own destroyers. That's always good. And you go up to full speed. Not as loud as normal. No, it wasn't as loud as normal, was it? After the battle's over, I will look into this. Yeah. So they now have one sinking cruiser, heavy cruiser, one sinking battle cruiser, and possibly a destroyer somewhere. I think it's still trying to fire torpedoes, lads, so keep all clear. Tetrarch does have some torpedoes, and I wouldn't be surprised if the spread those find their way into that battlecruiser very shortly. And that could well be what sinks it. And it's now sinking. You're already at 31 knots. You're going to need to screen me. That means don't smash into me! Oh, I hate the noise when they're bashing together. So... that's sinking. Well, I'm hearing that fine. How about the background music? Can you hear that? That is... well, that shows how good I am at planning my guns, that the guns can all go round completely. They can all do complete 360s, barring the forward B turret, which can merely do 270. I consider this some of my finest work, this class. I really do. Pardon me. Yeah, that's a victory. One torpedo boat survived. And I lost a destroyer. Just me in the game. So you can't hear the background music. Can you hear the background music? That's what I'm saying, or the game music. Ah, guys, not 14. Yeah, you hear the music. Okay, well, so the music's coming through. Can now. Couldn't while you were in the battle. Yeah, the music doesn't say as strong in during the battle for some reason. So, wonder what was happening to the sound alerts. Because it used to be there was a sound alerts thing in my audio mixer, but now there isn't. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We'll see what happens when I do this. So, how loud am I relative to everything else? Because how's that going? Okay. That was a boom. Alright, so... For some reason, OBS in the latest update has moved around my audio, has moved around the positioning of the audio mixers. I have not got it back, but, you know, I've sort of got some control. Yeah. Some control has been added into, but some stuff is certainly missing. I'd like the sound alerts on the audio mixer display panel. Oh well. That's why it's on update OBS. How do I put this? If I don't update OBS, then it doesn't like the PowerPoints. That's the trouble. Versus... Let's go see what Destroyer versus Destroyer battle's like, shall we? So I have to update quite regularly. But I have to admit, it is a temptation to not do so. I wonder which of these might be the Destroyer. think they're forgetting. Their main purpose out here isn't to kill me, it's to defend their merchant ships. And my purpose is to kill them. And I've sunk all their merchant ships, so, yeah. That's what I'm doing. Deco class. So can I find a bar of chocolate in here, or do all I have left in my office is pepperami and iron brew, which is not necessarily a bad day, but you know, I'd like a bar of chocolate. No. Ay, caramba. No chocolate. Life is sad. Life is sad. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I could just make that go on forever. I don't know. The sounds of volume seems to be okay. Although some of the things were being weird. Let's go see. That one's almost over. So, naval invasion of France I can't do, but what's the next one I can earn the Italians? Northwest Italy. The Italians are really not having a good time, are they? They're really not having a good time. Fighting both me and America at the same time is just not good. So how many books have arrived since you started boxing up books? Sadly enough, one of the books which I really wanted to arrive, the one I needed for the French squadron history, hasn't arrived. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. We'll sort something out. We will sort something out on that one. There are lots of people trying to spot the fluffy research assistant. Someone's got close. Someone's got really close. Yeah, I think that's at least 80,000 tons. And because I'm the type who likes to make sure of things, and I'm fairly sure of this one, send them as well. I'd like to get to over 200 provinces controlled. I feel that makes me feel special. I haven't looked at research for a while, have I? No, I've just been building ships. Armor quality doesn't need any weapon. What's the special machinery coming through? Super propellers. That's nice. I will take super propellers. Hull protection. What am I searching? Super torpedo protection. I like super torpedo protection. Big guns. What big guns are we working still? It's working on a Mark IV 13-inch guns. I'm not using those at all, but I do know 13-inch, 14-inch, 15-inch, and then 16-inch, and hopefully I can get through to that. Hang on, what's the shells? I think shells are probably more useful for me. Short. That's already 4 months, so if I do that, that's not going to affect that too much. Torpedo tubes. What's what they're working on? Tube mechanisms. That's lovely, but I don't need to rush that really. Torpedo propulsion. That would be nice to have, but not necessarily in the moment. So that'll do. Let's go to ship design. What's building around? What's it look like? How is it? Honestly, not battle cruisers. Their upgrades going through. Fleet construction going through. You think the Tornado and Asia would have been better if armed with fighters like the A7M? Then work with deck transport for them to land on and transfer them back when it's safe. No. There is nothing that makes a deck... basically, you can either be a battleship or you can be an aircraft carrier. Trying to be both is really not a good scenario for you. That's going to end up being about 800,000 tons of capital ship turning up in Scapa Flow. 4 Rodneys, 4 Queen Elizabeth, Queen Catherines. That should be fairly interesting. That's basically my force for if I end up in a war with America, what's going to be my backup naval force. Where's it going to position? The one that's primary, because the fact I'm actually already fighting everywhere else. Submarines. I should check actually what my building register is, how much I'm building versus how much I could be building. They're all in production. So let's go to finances. The trouble is that a Tornado as a concept is You are losing. Let's be honest. The effect you're losing not just 2 turrets, you're losing 3 turrets because your third turret, the third of the turrets you're carrying is frankly not usable at that point. So you might as well have got rid of it anyway. You therefore will be better off doing an actual proper conversion over the stern of the ship and setting almost an angled flight deck. The trouble is the concept of the angled flight deck hadn't yet really been thought of. There are people experimenting with the idea, but there's no one really pushing it. And that's the problem, really. So currently we're using 370... We've got roughly 200,000 tons left. Let's build some more light cruisers. I don't think I need a new design for them, but I might go to one of the designs and upgrade it. That's probably the sensible option. Take one of the existing designs and upgrade it. Now that would be a lovely light cruiser, but I don't think I could just about use. I think it'd probably end up being about 100,000 tons. If I tried to make what my version of a light cruiser on that hull would be. That's a lot of ship's boats being carried out the side. Pretty much Guards of 14. It's better for them to go with just make them into a carrier. And as they do with their own Shinano. You know, that's what they do with the third Yamato hull. So that's a sensible thing to do. That's all you need to do, really, with them. Why can I not fit radar to this hull? Ah, wrong hull, critter size. Let's go with this. So. Why would that be coal-fired? Why would I be anything less than geoturbines? I have modern armor. I'm fairly certain I have modern armor. And it's not letting me put it in. That's annoying. And main tower. That's looking distinctly British, I have to admit. Why can I not fit radar to this? This seems wrong to me. I've researched radar. I've got radar. Well, this is the most modern hull type of the cruisers. It's not allowing me to fit radar to it. I've got 1.5.09. Why is it not allowing me to fit radar to my ships? And if the answer is because during my transition from constitutional monarchy to democracy, which apparently was a revolution, we killed all the scientists who knew how to make radar, I am going to go ape at this game. Because that's currently my only working principle. Research. Rangefinders. I've got radar rangefinder number 2. That's annoying. Let's just go with new design. I just want a cruiser. I want to order about another 8 of them. Maybe it'll be another 6 of them. Considering I've got 200,000 tons. It's 8 times 12.5, that should be okay actually. 8 times 13.5 probably is fine as well, because that's 24. 28 onto 80,000, so that's 180,000. So maybe I can order 16. Ah, great. Modern light cruiser number 2. So that's the largest tower I can fit on them. I'm going to go for maximum beam, maximum draft, and maximum displacement. I am allowed radar now. Perhaps it's below a certain displacement. That'd be interesting. Armor. See what we can get in terms of main belt, and what can we get in terms of main deck. Ooh, that's taken the roll down the that trunk. I'm gonna guess that's gonna be 6.5 inches. Secondary tower. So I want main guns, 6-inch, triple turrets. We are going full. Ship is overweight. I'm going to start off with everything I want on that, and then I'm going to work out what I can get rid of. Leave it at cordite too. Dunite. go for that for this. Oh, we definitely don't want those more than 6 inches. 2 of those, and those go just 6 inches as well. And we want those to be the maximum length possible. Maximum range possible. And then torpedo launchers. This looks fairly British in stylings. Secondaries, 3-inch. There we go. And so this is ideally what I want. Could I stick another? No, I can't do that there. That'd be terrible of me. Terrible of me. Oh, so many spaces for me to stick. These. That gives us some interesting extra options. So, the thing is 18,000 tons. Which means she's massively overweight. What can we do you think, with this? 35 knots? Well, I like the 36 knot speed because it fits with some of my capital ships. So I've got 2 of these, which to give me 44 funnel capacity. They cost like 900 tons. What else can we do to reduce weight? Because I'd really like this to come in service. It would be useful for me. I'm going to need to end up doing some armor mods, aren't I? That's the only real option I can do. Some armor modifications. Yeah, I could drop down to 35 knots, but that doesn't really help. And the reason I've got the maximum beam I have is because it allows me to store other things. But if I get rid of those, get rid of that, and I start shrinking the beam, and I increase that up to 15,000 again. Okay, now I've only got 1,000 tons to drop. What else can I take out? With that immediately I start adding things in. Fifth, that immediately goes in the center, and that's not really helpful for me here. Whereas the 4s can go on the sides. So it gives me a broadside of 9 torpedoes, which will do. Secondary guns, when it comes to the 3-inch... that gives me a lot of 3 inches to cover my stern. And some torpedoes back there. I'm 2,000 tons overweight. I've got 20,000 kilometers range. 16,000 kilometers range is more than enough. That takes me down to 1,000 tons over. What can I drop? If I go down to 4... that's really not worth it. Let's go check the other scenarios we've got on. Citadel armor. That's not really anything worth worrying about. That's not got anything to worry about. Casemate armor, gun turrets, nothing to worry about in terms of them. There's stuff to worry about. I want those to be the longest range guns they can be. Increased ammunition for torpedoes, increased ammunition for that. I want all that. Because she needs the firepower to keep her going. That says only 100 tons? Okay, let's try this just to see what the difference is. That's 600 tons. But does affect pitch and roll. Okay. It's barely anything again. What's the large weight sections? What's costing me most of my 15... that's 16,000 place, 15,000 max load. What's costing me the most in terms of tonnage? Engines are 3,257 tons. Targeting tower is 2,600. Hull 1,710. Mid-deck armor. Bulkheads. In terms of mid-deck armor is the 1,500 tons. Bulkheads 1,200 tons. The mid-belt armor 638 tons. So the armor costs me a lot, but it's a huge part of my stability factor. Engine efficiency is at 207%. So, honestly, I can probably get rid of that. I can probably... do that. And maybe... So now I've got a torpedo scenario sitting out there. If I move that back to about here. Move that back to about here. About here. Aft weight is now my heaviest area. And I have a few hundred tons remaining. But I need to offset my aft weight, so let's go with foredeck. How do you think that's looking? Okay, she's only got 9 6-inch guns, and she hasn't got quite as many 3-inch guns as I'd like her to have. But she's got 10 torpedoes aft, and 15,000 tons dead on. And she's got a lot of armor for a cruiser of her size. Only 14,000 kilometers range. Do I want to increase that in any way, shape, or form? And what does it come at the cost of? She's got triple hulls, she's got a full anti-flood, full barbette. I like it, I think, actually. I think I like that. What's the name currently? Indus. Gas turbines are a fun nightmare. Yeah. So, I've got roughly 200,000 tons. And if I build 12, that's 180,000 tons. So I've got to order 12. Another 15,000 tons each. And that leaves me some tonnage in case I need to repair anything. And 12 of those wandering around the world is just going to add to the nightmare that is fighting me. That's the plan anyway. So, things I've got to get once I'm in my new office and once I'm sorted out and put the base in. Steam Deck. Specifically one which allows me to do automate the tweets and all the things that go out to send messages to people going, yes, I'm live, please come watch me. That'd be 210,000. No, it can't do that, so let's do 12 those. I'm giving you 15 months, so they're going to be built in less time than they are built. Oh, that should be fun. 20 ships under construction. Naval invasion convoys. The Happy Lusac. Mm-hmm. It is fun to experiment with how fast you can make some of the ships on here, and you can make them very, very fast with the right engine combination. But there's also a certain point at which you are spending so much on engines in terms of tonnage. If you get caught in a scenario where you cannot run away and you have to fight someone, i.e. they have longer range guns than you, you're in real trouble. So whilst I do agree with making ships as fast as you possibly can, if you want to, you have to couple that with a lot of investment in your gunnery technology to give your guns the maximum range possible. Because it doesn't matter how fast you are, if you can't get into gunnery range, you have to go far into their gunnery range before you can start fighting them. They can wreck you, because normally if you've got that amount of speed, you're going to be sacrificing something, and that's usually armor. Because that's going to be weight of engines in the hull. So that's the real problem, and I would say that's also the problem for quite the British in a way, because honestly, their approach with battle cruisers, because they liked the 45 caliber in terms of, well, they liked 12-inch 45s, they like 30.5-inch 45s, and then they go to 15-inch 42, which is basically a board out, board down 35, 15 to 13.5-inch gun in many ways of its design. They run into trouble because their guns aren't necessarily the longest range, or necessarily they're very good, very serviceable guns, but are not necessarily the longest range. So basically, you need to think about that when you're designing a ship which is very built around speed. You need to think about range of engagement. So it's like when we talk about speed being able to dictate fighting range, that's usually a 3 knot advantage allows you to do that. True. But that's as long as your guns are of equivalent range. Or preferably greater range. Because if your guns are of shorter range, then you need to go into their firing range they're well within their range to actually fire your guns. I like the 16.5-inch. That's my personal preference of size versus rate of fire. I consider that to be about the sweet spot. But honestly, the 16-inch is pretty much there. Once you start getting above that, that's when you start getting issues. 16.5 is about pushing it to about the maximum. 400, roughly, that's a 420mm gun. And there's also quite a lot of testing. Also need good hull form and hull design speed. Only a few hulls really out. Yep. You see, this is a battle cruiser which has a top speed of 26 knots. It's very French. And it's going up against... And they can do 30 knots. Let's fight this battle. This is not going to be a nice battle, by the way. This is the sort of battle which the Royal Navy really likes. And I quite like. Where I completely outnumber, outgun, and outfight my opponent. They can do 26 knots, I can do 30 knots. I have a feeling my cruising speed and rate of fire is going to be higher than theirs. I think most of these battleships are carrying 16.5-inch guns. And they appear to already be in range. So let's pause a second while we arrange things. Let's see, we have Dominion. 16.5-inch guns if I'm not mistaken. Agamemnon, 16.5-inch guns if I'm not mistaken. Caesar, 16.5-inch guns if I'm not mistaken. 15. 15 16.5-inch guns, if I'm not mistaken. Top speed 28 knots. How? Top speed 28 knots, 15 16.5-inch guns. And revenge. So. Now, I have to admit, I'm going to go for this one because I don't want to hear what's about to happen. I'm fairly sure there's about to be banging. Pretty much that's my plan, is to pick them off at range, yes. Yeah, there's been a fair number of matches where I've had that in this game, in this run through. Because I invest in engines quite a lot. It's a useful thing to invest in. Run, my little pretty, run. He can do 20, they can do 26 knots. So these ladies are coming up hard. Even these can do 27.4 knots, so could honestly push down a bit. And they wouldn't fall so far behind. Racing at full speed. Only a battle cruiser can race. Going frigate! There are fast battleships behind me which are faster than I am, and they are all firing. And if your enemy is intent on running, then you can't really do the whole staying at range engaging thing, because they're intent on running away, and you want to sink them. And I do want to sink this ship, because as pretty as it might be, and let's be honest, it is pretty. It is pretty. It is a French battlecruiser, and therefore it's going to be sunk. You're a heavy cruiser. Garney Board said no, not part of this game, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have the best trained Marines of anyone. I would be investing in Marines. Now able to fire. I don't know why these turrets are moving, because there's nothing they can fire at. We're going to be in 21 kilometers soon. Max is doing 26.2, so I'm going to presume it's doing 26.2. Presume it's doing 26.2. My gunnery is terrible since the update. It is terrible since the update, I do admit. And I've been doing everything I can to improve it. Although it is improving now. I'm getting closer to getting closer. I'm giving myself a 1 knot advantage, so I'm still closing, but only slowly closing. I've got a 1 knot advantage, so they're not getting away from me, but I don't want to be closing at full speed. It improves my accuracy the slower I'm, the closer I'm going to the cruising speed. We are very nearly into 6-inch gun range. Very nearly into 6-inch gun range. Which is really not a good time for this one, because that's going to just deluge it in 6-inch fire. If the battle line is coming down, here are you in a breast formation, you know. Yes! Soon be in 6-inch range. Slowly creeping down the distance. Slowly. Such a deluge of 6-inch shell. Honestly, it's going to become almost horrendous. I don't know, I don't think this ship is at maximum speed. I think it's actually a lot less than maximum speed. I'm going to take it down to 25 knots. Line ahead formation, and I want you to go off to this side. Ship's gone. See, once I was able to slow them down 25 knots, put them in line for my head formation, it just wasn't a long fight. Yep. It wasn't in a fair fight. It was in a fight with 5 fast battleships, which were all faster than it, more heavily armed than it, and much more heavily armored than it. If I'd lost that fight, I'd have been, you know, really, really disturbed. You see, sorry, what just flashed up on my screen was the latest update on my studio dashboard for my YouTube, and it gives you a cycles through the latest video. And normally, normal videos for me, by this point, are somewhere between 560 and 900 views. Normal videos are, for me, at this point. That one from yesterday is at 508 views, and this is despite me giving it possibly what is one of my most clickbaity title ever. Oh good, I have one. You notice this is where all my Generation 1 dreadnoughts are pretty much now, are all in the Far East doing the conquests out here, because I'm not really fighting anyone out here, I just need a tonnage. And that's why I've kept them around. So I've got a 100% chance of succeeding there, 100% chance of succeeding there. Oh, good lord, that ship fleet has still... Maybe they have moved? Maybe they haven't. Right, so... Chance to succeed 100% there and 100% there, and that will be good for me. Especially the internal politics. What else can do naval invasion? It's going to be... Oh, then Eastern Sicily. Ooh, that'll be fun. I will go for that. Do I want to improve relations with Japan? Or the United States? I don't have any actions. I can't improve relations with Japan. They're just too good already. My relations with Japan are just too good. Do I want to increase tension with Germany? Well, they've got 1 province, 4 ports, and they've got about 5 ships, so not really bothered about them. Everyone seems to hate them. I'm going to increase tension with the Soviets because, well... This used to be mine, and then they rebelled. And I want it back. I had all of Russia. I want it back. No worries. It's not a thing. I literally... I gave it the title just to see if that would affect things, because people are always telling me I need to do more clickbaity titles. And I thought, well, it's the subject which is... In terms of my viewership, there are a fair number of them which might enjoy it, but I don't imagine it's got that wider viewership thing going on. You know, I try and learn as I go and improve things to try and get more viewers because, well, there's the competition going on for starters. There's an advantage coming on here. .27.5% gun reload time. Oh, that's attractive to me. That really is attractive to me. So that's going to get done. That's at 52%. Well, you know. Got a lot of 16.5-inch gun battleships coming through here. I've also got a Marlboro design, which I should build some of at some point, because the Marlboros could be cool to have in service. Could be cool. Britain discovered technology, advanced naval shells, advanced automatic gun reload, and 3,500 ton destroyer. Oh yeah. Well, I've told you before, if I wanted to do clickbaity titles, top 10 battleships of all time, top 10 cruisers of all time, top 10, you know, this, that, I could just churn those out. And as said, be prepared, because those might be included in the Christmas videos if I look like I need to really pack on the subscribers before the before Christmas Day. They will literally come out. It will literally be building up to Christmas, and it will be every week there will be a new top 10 list. Because I know what's going to succeed. Please just all watch them. Put them on background. They're going to be background filler. Well, they'll be as close to background filler as I can ever produce. Let's go for them at the August bank holidays. I have 2 running and X2 and another slot for the times 2 for another for last night's lecture. Oh. But when I over things, that should probably do something being damaged. But we should be able to get back there quite shortly, and we got this at 56%. Shells. What are they working on? They're the 13-inch for Mark IV guns. Small guns, da 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 da. Ooh, Mark IV 4-inch guns. Communications, what's this one producing? Ooh, I like that. I like that. I've got a lot of ports. I want that. I want radar surveillance. Yeah, well, you know, I'd probably do a top 10 battleships of all. You know, top 10 Victorian-era battleships. Top 10 battleships of World War I. Top 10 battleships of World War II. You see, the thing is, my top 10 battleships of World War II would probably go Iowa's, King George V's, Littorio's, then Yamamoto's, Scharnhorst's, Dunkirk's, are they the North Carolinas or the South Carolinas? I think they're the North Carolinas, aren't they? Her and Washington, anyway. Bismarck and Tirpitz. So they're only like 8. Number 8 in the list. Top 10 overrated ships. Oh, the trouble is, our top 10 lists are not as different as would be enough to have a debate. It'd be mostly us taking the out of a lot of the people who are very, very much wereabouts. Did Littorio ever actually hit anything? Yeah! Littorio class did pretty darn good in World War II. It's just the trouble is, it wasn't the ships that were the problem. It was it was the quality control on their shells and their charges. Don't they already have quite a large fleet there? Yeah. Oh, good. I do have four squadrons there. So send you all to there. That should be enough for that. You down to there, so that's dealing with that one. How's the invasion going? I need another 3 turns. Let's start off with the politics. Name invasion of Italy. Where should we choose next province? Eastern Sicily, I think. Because if I take Eastern Sicily, then I have all these islands. I just realised it. Italy controls Sudan Heracum. Top 10 overrated ships. Oh. Top 10 overrated ships of all time. Oh. Oh. You see, the trouble is, there are going to be ships in there which are going to be in there because... Not because they're bad ships, but because they're overrated. There's the USS Monitor, because of the sheer amount of fanboy stuff which comes out of it. It could take on this, that, or the other. And you sit there and go, no, it couldn't. Again, the Bismarck. It's a very overcomplicated, over-fussed design. It's very inefficient in its construction and its choices. And it shows the fact that the Germans haven't been building ships for a long time when they're still, even when they're designing it. And it also shows the polycratic nature of the German governmental system at the time. It's not necessarily a bad ship, it's just nowhere near the super wonder weapon that it is made up to be. There's so many options, and then you get into the whole aircraft carrier scenario. Shinano probably would go in there. You see, the fact is that it's like the USS Enterprise. In realistic terms, she is blooming good. And when you're looking at her actual capabilities, she is blooming good. When you look at her scenario like Warspite, where they do seem to have actual, genuine plot armor, she's very, very good. But you compare it to some of the stuff which people write about it online, and you go, oh my lord, you do not understand naval warfare. It's just, yeah. I'm not even sure if it's possible for you Bismarck to get a golden BB on Yamato. It's not like she's a battle cruiser. You know, it's a nice way. It's like getting a golden BB on a battle cruiser is a lot easier than getting a golden BB on a battleship. And even then, it's not easy. As Drax, I think, perspective has shown, and data has shown, the trough is the key thing. And that's what results in it, basically. Top 10 battleships of World War One. You really, in World War One, you cannot put... The Queen Elizabeth class is going to have to be the number one. They just are for World War One. But, honestly, the Tegetovs are probably even number two. The Soviets actually have a navy. Someone's actually having a convoy battle. Look at all these fleets arrayed here, and there's a convoy battle going on here, and you're telling me all that we're bringing is one destroyer. You're honestly trying to tell me that? That's doing okay. That's doing okay. That's doing okay. That's doing okay. And there's more ships coming to join it. That's got like 2 more turns. There are British Army troops advancing into Tunisia as well as my invasion going on. Basically, this is going to turn the Mediterranean into a British lake, where everyone else is there at our discretion. The only thing we don't have is this area. And America has a surprisingly large empire in Africa at this point. I have a fairly large empire in Africa. But, you know, eventually, if they find themselves at war with me, they could have real trouble with their empire. USS Texas, yes. She's well, yeah, she's a good ship, but I wouldn't say... I'd say, actually, in stats and capabilities, she has... And I'd probably end up with a table at the end and go, so these are the stats according to their stats and abilities. And then these are the stats according to their plot armor. At which point HMS Warspite and USS Texas probably go up to the... These two ships have plot armor. If you see the enemy fleet contains both Texas and Warspite, hide. Hide. Oh, yeah. Isn't there one where the fuel would have had to start a fire, which would have had to go down, like, 2 decks through 3 bulkheads and ignite the magazines that way? And it's a case of... yeah, that's not going to happen. Unless there's an actual tube directly going between the two that's arranged so the fuel can flick into it in large quantities. And I mean in large quantities. And the vents aren't designed that way. The vents aren't flush with the deck. Should probably check the research in the next section. Hood's always coming up again. It's one of those subjects. It's like, I would like to discuss Glorious. Because her loss... well, honestly, Courageous is the most embarrassing for the Royal Navy. But Glorious is probably the most silly. Where's Knight? I have no idea. He never turns up for the Twitch streams, so... it does seem rather cruel having the discussion without him being present. Oh, good lord. Okay, so how fast can you go again? 35.3 knots. 20 knots. 33 knots. 34 knots. 30 knots. 24 knots. Oh no. I would never do that. There is something about being surrounded by all these books, and... oh, no, I haven't had... when was the last time I ate? Oh, frigate, I don't think I've eaten since breakfast yesterday. That would explain why I keep burping. I haven't eaten anything in, like... well, I'll have to make sure I have some food. Trouble is, I keep moving stuff and keep forgetting to cook. And then presuming I've eaten because everyone else has eaten. Does anyone know what these things are back here? Because they look like they're steam, but it's coming from a long way away. You go hunting. Fortune. You go hunting. You join that. And you're on follow. You're also on AI. The only things which have a chance of catching this destroyer. Ask sis to cook your pizza too. I don't take a strong way, but she's very busy at the moment as well, and her being busy doesn't necessarily improve the quality of the food. Home tonight's brew shifts is less chaotic than last week's. I'm not good with training measures. I hope so too. I don't like having to be stern. I don't like having to basically go into teacher mode. But there are certain things I just won't stand for. You know, I'm happy. I enjoy doing the videos. I enjoy chatting with you all, etc. But certain things I'm just going to go, if you're going to say that to me, that's not. That's it. And so I, you know, as I said, but hopefully I don't have to deal with that, because my other view is, if you're going to ask me a question and then because you don't like the answer you accuse me of propaganda, etc., listening to propaganda, you know, perhaps don't ask me the question. That's my point. If you don't want to hear my answer, don't. The mods do a good job. I think I am considering expanding the mod numbers, because it is starting to get more people involved. AI doesn't like radar? Well, who knows. And let's see, northwest is that direction. Add Leslie and Steve. Well, they are doing a good job in the Discord discussions, so it is tempting to. But you know, the other mods do the mods there when they're there do quite a good job. It's the trouble is when they're there, and the thing is, again, it's a voluntary thing. I don't, you know, mods don't get paid or anything, but yeah. Well, yeah, I think I've told you guys you're doing a good job. If I haven't told them they're doing a good job, I should have done. And, you know, they are both mods. Well, they're supposed to both be mods. I'm not sure if I did it successfully. I've just checked it and redone it for spite. For Leslie. Alpha Spike. Um, Steve, I mean, I'll get it right in a second. My brain will get it right. But, you know, the mod privileges on here. But it is sometimes a sort of an interesting one. Yeah, the trouble is, I think one of the issues is that in terms of moderators, the bluntest one I have is Melanie. On the who's on when it comes to YouTube and the YouTube sort of lives, and I have noticed that whereas the others will go, check your language, that's something. Melanie will just go, shut up. Saw it the other day with certain people who are being annoyed, well, causing issues, and they just basically, you know. Good. The naval invasion of. There is doing well. It's knowing when you need. It's a tough thing because I've done some modding occasionally on Drax channel, and it's knowing when to intervene and when to people calm down themselves, because it's, you know, you don't want to overly mod a chat, because if you do, you stifle the questions and discussions, and you don't want that. It's like the third option for Master at Arms, if when we eventually need one for probably for the chats, etc. If you get enough people turning up into the Discord to conversations after lives on Thursday, the third option is Paul, who's chatting away here, and Paul is on the list of my mental list of people to go. You know, I keep a list of people who turn up regularly, who are put forward interesting points, but also are good at managing other people and interacting with other people in the chat and respectful of other people, because that's what I want for my moderators. Because I think if the moderators I pick are the best people, who are the people who turn up most consistently to the chat, but also are the best people at maintaining respectful discourse in the chat, they'll set the tone with their actions, and that then helps with other things. So that's sort of what I go with. You know, that's my policy. I'm looking for people who are able to regularly turn up, who don't have those sort of issues with work and those sort of things, but who are quite well informed and just keep it respectful, and by their actions will lead others to be, because that helps having a lot of. That helps with having the conversation. That helps the chat, because you want the chat to allow people to be able to talk in, especially in the lives. That's the purpose of the lives. They're sort of like seminars. So what I want is, I don't want people to feel they're shouted out or being drowned out. And that's one of the reasons why I like the new system, whereby we have the questions in one chat and we have the chat going elsewhere. And we just have the Q&A in its own section. Because that means if anyone's putting in a lot of questions, it doesn't dominate the chat. And I think that makes it better for everyone, both for me to find the questions and for others to be sort of able to be involved and enjoying it. Ooh, 20,000 ton heavy cruiser. But that's only 2 months away anyway, so I don't need to upgrade that, because I'm not going to build any of those consistently anytime soon than that. Small guns. That's the improved 4-inch gun, isn't it? Mark 5 4-inch. I like that, I want that, so I'm going for that. Don't have the 3 months, but that'll do. Yeah. Drax's channel is a lot larger, but also Drax got a lot of other things going on at the moment, and as I say, there's a limit to what I can do at the moment with what I've got going on, and I implemented, if you think about it, the change with the Q&A separate prior to Christmas, prior to me having all the moving stuff. And now I'm building up a lot of changes I want to implement once I've moved. Well, Drax got his own things going on, and that's the reality of it. So, yeah. Big Brzezinski, the first line of moderation is always rereading what you've typed in before you press enter. Don't be sad to Control or Alt Delete. And if you're not happy with it, yeah, Control Alt and Delete. Yeah, that is the first thing. And as I said, I'm quite honest. My little cousins watch my channel. I am going to be. I do not mind any topic being discussed within reference to naval history, but I am quite tight when it comes to. I don't want to be beaten up by my cousins, so no, we're not teaching those little cousins any new words. So it's school language. Everyone play a school language or Sunday lunch language with the family. Moluccas. Yeah. Greenland did just rebel against Denmark, yes. Yeah, East Greenland is rebelling against Denmark. Yeah. Yeah, and I think again it's a case of it's the character you instill into the chat, and as said, it's something which requires constant work and maintenance. You have to always think it through, and as I said, I don't like it when I have to get the rare times. I think I've only got firm in the chat. I've only got firm with people online about in the entire history of the channel. I think I've only gone into teacher mode, or rather. You will, this is not the right thing to do mode. 3 times? If that? I can only really remember 2, but I think there was another one. Not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Take care, Jonathan. Enjoy your dinner. Oh no, because if Greenland go independent, then at a certain point they probably get gobbled up by me or America in this game. We might not be able to take on minor powers, but, you know. There's the fact that, usually, coincidentally, the independent country's new leader suddenly decides that they are going to talk nasty words about us. And so one of us needs to go and swallow them up. It's terrible, really. It just keeps happening. Time and time again. Ay, caramba. Sorry, someone just included me in a load of messages about people going, nuclear weapons don't deter conflict. Okay. Because people still use conventional weapons. No, what they do is they put a ceiling on the level of conflict that's going to happen. Usually invading someone else's territory, or, how do I put this? Put this on possessor's territory, or using nuclear weapons yourself. They don't stop conflict, because responding with nuclear weapons to someone who's done a conventional attack on you is treated as dramatic overkill, so no one does that. It's basically been acknowledged that there's pretty much a threshold of what you're allowed to do. And the threshold is if they try to know first the use of nuclear weapons. But that only works as long as you have nuclear weapons, because if you don't have them, or aren't in an alliance which possesses them and goes, if you threaten one, you threaten all, you have a problem whereby someone else with nuclear weapons can basically go, Ryan, you do what we say or we can nuke you. And there's nothing you can do about it. I think I have multiple ships named Warspite in service. But yeah. Let's go down to the W's. And the A's. I'm so tempted to think I have multiple war spites in service. No, I only have one. I only have one war spite. Officially. I just had a feeling I had a newer war spite than that as well somewhere around. If there are multiple war spites in the world is truly in trouble. If there are multiple HMS war spites in the world, then the world is truly about to end. Look, there is a reason why I don't think we've ever seen a ship named Warspite. You know. The Warspite is apparently a sovereign class. Although, let's consider, the sovereign class names are an interesting bunch. They're Ark Royal, Arsinoe, Enterprise, Gilgamesh, Glasgow, Hoffagar, Hutchinson, Igraine, Inyo, Yarashino, Mushashi, Akuda, Pakajito, Sovereign, Valkyrie, Van Critters, Venture, and Warspite. Am I the only one who notices in Star Trek that quite a lot of the ships seem to have very human history names? I do have a feeling that, you know, basically the Federation, despite the fact that it really isn't a human empire, has sort of become de facto a human empire in some ways. So how's this doing? 100% chance to succeed in that. And then once we've done there, we go southern Italy and we work our way up. I think I'll carry on playing till about 5:30, and then I'll go work out what I'm doing about some food. I should probably do something about some food. Because it'll live later. A, HMS Pansy has a storied and frightening history if you want to try and fight it. B, Warspite. You have to remember how often the Royal Navy reaches for the Flower class every time they want to grow their ship numbers. Quite literally, every time they've got to have the small ships and they've got to build more of the flower names come up more often than you want to think about it. Honestly, the Royal Navy has no I think there's even been HMS Rosebud. But leaving that to one side, Warspite as a ballistic missile submarine is yet not one I want, mainly because I just worry what she's going to get up to armed with that much firepower. It's been bad enough when she's had enough firepower to reshape geography, without having the firepower to completely redraw geography. Hello, in spite of my body's efforts, I fell asleep through the whole stream. You tried. That's the important thing. Look, I think it's mainly things like the ship's bell, etc., which get transferred across in Royal Navy terms. We don't tend to use the last ship's steel in new ship's construction, mainly because the ship's hopefully the submarine's been constructed of better stuff. But also I think the last HMS Warspite was an SSN, and I don't think that's been cut up yet. And I don't think that got any steel from the battleship. In fact, let me just check. Yeah, Valiant class nuclear submarine HMS Warspite is still waiting disposal. She's currently in Stormers. She was decommissioned in 1991, and yeah, 33 years later, still awaiting disposal. I think she might have lost her conning tower. Because that's what they usually do. But she was a Valiant class, so basically they built Dreadnought, then they built Valiant, Warspite, and then they built the Churchill class of SSNs, which they built about 3 of. And then after that came the Swifter class, which they built 6 of. And then they built the Trafalgar class, which they built 7 of, and the 6 are still in service. And then they built the Astutes, and they've built 5. 2 more are coming along, and they're supposed to be succeeded by the Orcas class, which are going to come into service in late 2020s with the Royal Navy, late 2030s with the Australia. You know, they're going to be an interesting class. It's all fun. Silverware too, probably. Yes, the silverware. Yes, of course. Forgetting the silverware. That's just terrible. I'm guessing that's going to be radar rangefinder number 3. Control station. Advanced fire control number 1. Honestly, if we consider the traditional history of Warspite, it hasn't needed any transfer of steel to transfer the machine spirit. So I'm fairly sure the bell and possibly the silverware are enough to do it. Still, that's not something I wanted in a ballistic missile submarine. I do not want a submarine which has a desire to go and wipe things out as its default setting as a ballistic missile submarine. And I realise some people consider this completely overblown, but look at the history of Warspite. Ah, Kofi. Here's something interesting about Kofi, okay? It does this in Twitch stream that advertises itself. I don't think it does it in the YouTube streams. Should try and get it to do so. To advertise itself in the YouTube streams. Because, honestly, Patreon, and as I said before, Patreon goes fully on books. The YouTube money goes a mixture of books and expenses. The Kofi stream really does go to the Iron Brew supply. And having seen the price of Iron Brew having gone up again recently, yeah. I've got like 4 bottles in my fridge. It's about enough to get me through to Tuesday. Patron suggestions. We're on. Patron suggestions. I know you're very committed to suggesting things done in the garden shed, but try patron suggestions and then bribe your fellow patrons. That's probably the best way. I think I should be able to invade southern Italy, but you know, it's not allowing me to. It's letting me go for northern Italy, so I will go for northwest Italy. And I will also send a fleet to Port-au-France. That's her. Look, I'm doing my best to take out the rest of the world. I am doing my legitimate best. To paraphrase from Terry Pratchett. Next big gun we're working on. Mark II 17-inch. No, give a flying hoot about those. Want the 16-inch. Don't need that being worked on though. No, things are going on, aren't going well. Aren't going wrong. And they'll help. If Germany keeps on annoying me, they're going to find themselves in a war soon. Which is not good, considering they literally have one place left. They are at my house. Ah! Well, you know, that's not something I can control, sadly enough. That's not something I have the power over. Good luck. Trying to build up for war with Germany, now making friends with me. Do I have 66 battleships or 166 battleships? I have 66 battleships and another 8 in the construction. I have 66 battleships, and I have a little over several hundred submarines. I think I might even have 1,000. I know I have enough submarines that attacking my ports is kind of like committing suicide. In naval terms, because you will find so many sitting waiting for you to go hello. It's just from 916, yeah. Take care, Paul. Yes. Enjoy. That's always the point. Relaxing afternoon. Pause. Right, so. If I take New Zealand out, let's organise this all. Ah, magnificent. You look magnificent. Hey guys, just watch a review of my new Custodes Codex. The guy said there's a very wide and weirdly shoehorned female Custodes. There's a female Custodes? Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me because they're unique, and considering some of their options they do in terms of various works in espionage, it wouldn't surprise me if you had both. Because it's like years ago when I was looking at the various forces which were protecting the royal family, it was quite common there were usually a couple, at least, who were women, because they needed to protect... Let's put it this way. If you've got a load of ladies in waiting around Queen Victoria, let's put it this way, a couple of them might have been even more specially trained. So, that wouldn't surprise me. You know, if you've got to... there are requirements where sometimes it helps. I can understand with the Space Marines, although, as said, originally they were female Space Marines, and one of my little cousins has put together an original grouping. The reason she's done it is she's her Lost Legion, one of the Lost Legion, and much is completely fine, actually. They were canon when they were made, therefore they are still canon. But it's a case of me. In the scenario I've always got is Warhammer 40k is vast enough that and is a vast enough setting that there's room for a lot of things in there. There's room for a lot of stuff in there. But hey, if you want to, please put a link to the video in Discord, and I'll manage to watch it at some point myself. Honestly, considering my family history, probably about time. Women are fairly scary. Is this the new codex? I haven't read it yet. When I've got a copy and I've read it, I'll go for it and see what it says. I will say though, there is a scenario where I think Warhammer 40k are reacting in recent years to realizing quite how significant female playership they do have. But I would say that's because, in my experience, the female players have tended to be there are, as we all know, there are players in 40k. There are some who love it for doing the artwork and the artistry, and there are some who love it for the wargaming, and there's everyone on the spectrum between those two sort of positions. And some people are more like the other. Many of the female players I met really love the artistry. In fact, if I'm going to get the fine work detail done on my Space Marines, on my sort of Iron Walls, you know, the cousin will probably end up doing it for me, because she's far better at the precise painting than I am. You know, she rarely plays. She only ever plays in the family matches. But she loves painting them. She has one of the largest armies of any of us because she loves painting them. Let's be honest. The headcanon, the custodians are such an elite thing that they might have started out as male or female, but they are beyond anything. They are, you know, let's be honest, even the Primarchs. We have all sorts of fan fiction now apparently written about, Gilliman and his elvish lady friend. But let's be honest, most of them have evolved past that. They are so far removed from doing anything or being involved in anything that, yeah. It's just not what they do. Yeah, I agree with you to an extent, Spike, Steve. I do. It is to an extent. They are, but also I can't blame them because they exist in a monopolistic market. They are it, and it's very expensive, some of the stuff they do. What I would love to see is, I especially would like to see the authors in the Black Library get paid more, because I know a few people who work in that area and they deserve more money than they get. But honestly, the fact is that's probably because the amount of people who actually buy the books. They've been significantly humanised by books, but people actually read them. The amount of Warhammer 40k players I know who are obsessive players, but who never touch the frigging books. And you sit there and go, again, it's if you look at the setting of the Custodians, you look at what they do. They are looking for literally the creme de la creme of humanity. If they were looking for the creme de la creme of humanity and only looking at 50% of the population, they'd be rather short-staffed. The fact is, probably meeting some of their criteria, you're not going to get as many girls making it as boys. Probably not. Considering some of their criteria, because of looking for the significant level of pack mule in the DNA, and let's be honest, there's more pack mule associated with usually male characteristics of the human DNA than with the female. But as I've always said, if you look at, you know, various armed forces sections, there are certain areas, especially, you know, if you look at the military, where actually what you're looking for goes to the other side of the DNA. And yeah, history, it's sort of interesting, you know. Modern armed forces, we do a lot of work with them. I don't agree with adjusting lowering standards, but the fact is, whilst it might be a case of 1 in 10 men can achieve a standard, and it's only 1 in 100 women, that's an extra ability. That's an extra personnel, and it might mean that it actually means that some of the men who historically have just scraped into that don't get through. In my experience, usually the ones who are most worried about these scenarios, and it's, again, we can go back in history to when they started allowing engineers to become command officers, and when they started opening up positions and started opening up the training. The people who were really worried weren't the good officers, weren't the people who were good at their job. It was the people who were mediocre at their job, worried about other people coming through and making it harder for them to get ahead by just de facto being there. And that's in history, that's happened time and time again. The people who complain the most are usually the people who are most worried about their posts. Because, realistically, you have to consider, again, you know, modern militaries, how many people actually want to join it. Their volunteer forces. And then, get of those people who want to volunteer and join, how many are going to make the grade. One of the other interesting things recently I found out was that, and they've noted this one, is sort of reserve formations. I don't know, quite a lot of reserves. There is usually a far higher percentage of women joining the reserves, especially than they used to be. And if you look at some of the skills you need in a reserve force and what you're looking at, capabilities you're looking for, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, it's a long and complicated subject, which is pretty much a whole video to discuss. But saying all that, the Custodies are supposed to be their own self-contained army, and therefore, considering all the capabilities they need, and considering the numbers they need, yeah. A lot of people are put off the reserves by the medical procedures, yeah. Why can I not do a naval invasion of southern Italy? I have literally got them surrounded. Didn't enjoy the conversation I had with someone the other day, which was they literally looked at some of the requirements for the joining the British Armed Forces, and they're literally not far off points of being an Olympic athlete in some of the requirements. And it's a case of, you want that as a recruit, yeah. All right, I'm gonna go get some food. I should probably go get some food. I should go get some food, shouldn't I? I should do. I've got to live, and I've got to pack more boxes in a bit. Thank you very much, everyone. Oh, no, it's not just the Brits who are... There are many others. Who is it who has the most interesting one? Okay. I think it was... I'm not sure if the Danish still have it, but they used to have criterias around what food you could eat. I know at one point Britain was saying no to people with nut allergies and all sorts of things, and all sorts of weird issues, but I think we stopped that one now. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care, and thank you for watching. Thank you, Big Brzezinski, Paul Amos, Jacob, Malaga, Runon, Spike, Seneca Nero, Guardsman 14. Thank you, Random Dale Fan. Thank you, everyone who's been watching. There's been a few of you today. Thank you. Jonathan Moon, thank you. Thank you, everyone who's been watching and chatting away. It's been lovely to chat away. Hope you enjoyed the afternoon. Thank you to, of course, Kofi for doing its usual best to try and get me Iron Brew funds. It's always good with it is always good as being that nice. And thank you everyone who supports the Twitch stream, the YouTube channel, and all the other things. Thank you very much. Take care and have fun. Enjoy the party, Runon. Take care.